I'm Mark Matsumoto and welcome to my Tokyo kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to warm up with a bowl of spicy udon noodle soup that's loaded with kimchi and pork belly. It's neither Korean nor Japanese, but it is easy and delicious. So let's start with a look at our ingredients. For the stir fry, I've got 150 grams of thinly sliced pork belly, 7 grams of garlic, 7 grams of ginger, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and 250 grams of mature kimchi along with its juices. For the soup, I've got 2 cups of water, 1 tablespoon of gochujang, 1 tablespoon of gochugaru, and salt to taste. To serve this, I'm using 2 portions of pre-cooked udon noodles. These ones are frozen. I've also got 2 soft-boiled eggs and about 70 grams of garlic chives. I like using frozen udon for this because they're easy to use and have a nice springy texture. But if you have the time, I also have a recipe to make them from scratch, which I'll link to in the video description down below. The first thing I'm gonna do is chop up the sliced pork belly into bite-sized pieces. I like using pork belly because of the richness it adds, but other marbled cuts of pork or chicken thighs will work as well. Then I'm gonna add this to a bowl and grate in the garlic and ginger. Marinating the pork with the aromatics allows these to brown as we stir fry the ingredients, which is gonna create a ton of flavor. Now I'm gonna add the soy sauce and mix everything together with my hands so that each slice of pork belly has an even coating. The next thing I'm gonna do is squeeze the kimchi juice from the kimchi. This may sound like a waste of effort since we're recombining them later, but I'm gonna stir fry the kimchi first, and it needs to be dry in order to get it to brown. Just be careful not to do this near anything that's gonna stain because the kimchi tends to squirt. By the way, I like using mature kimchi for this because the lacto-fermentation that it undergoes as it ages is gonna give the soup a nice tangy taste. But you can also do this with fresher kimchi if you don't want your soup to be sour. Okay, I've got my bowl of squeezed kimchi and a bowl of flavorful juice, so let's finish up the prep by chopping up our garlic chives. I usually trim off the tips of the stems and then I'm gonna roughly chop these into 2-inch lengths. If you can't find garlic chives, scallions will work as well. Before we cook this up, I want to thank Musubi Kiln for sending over this beautiful handcrafted Minoware bowl that's gonna make my kimchi udon pop. Aside from traditional ceramics, they also have a huge collection of cute and fun modern tableware that would make for the perfect Valentine's Day gift. So click on the link in the description down below to check out my collection. And be sure to use coupon code NORECIPES to get 5% off your order. I've got a saute pan over medium heat and I'm gonna add the marinated pork belly and squeezed kimchi. Then I'm gonna spread these out into an even layer and let the pork belly render out some fat. If you're using a leaner cut of meat, you'll want to add some oil to the pan here. Once some of the fat is rendered out and the ingredients are starting to brown, I'm gonna stir fry these for about a minute or two until the mixture is super fragrant and browning around the edges. Now I'm gonna add the water, kimchi juice, and gochujang and dissolve it into the soup. This kimchi isn't very spicy, so I'm gonna add a tablespoon of gochugaru, which is a mildly spicy Korean chili powder. If you're unsure about how spicy to make it, just add a little at a time and taste the soup before adding more so you don't overdo it. Then I'm gonna let these simmer together for about a minute to allow the flavors to get friendly. Kimchi tends to vary wildly in saltiness, so it's important to taste the soup and adjust the salt if it's needed. My kimchi was pretty salty, but I think I want just a little more oomph, so I'm gonna add a pinch of salt. Now I'm gonna add the pre-cooked udon noodles and top them off with the garlic chives. Since these are frozen, I'm gonna cover this up with the lid and let them reheat for about 2 to 3 minutes. If you're using freshly cooked noodles, they won't need as much time. Once the noodles are reheated, open up the lid and give the mixture a stir to ensure the garlic chives get cooked through. And when they're bright green like this, our spicy udon noodles and kimchi are done. To serve this up, I'm gonna use tongs to get the noodles into our minoware bowl. Be sure to get plenty of that kimchi and pork on top of the noodles. Then I'm gonna use a ladle to scoop plenty of that spicy broth onto the udon. Finally, I'm gonna arrange our soft-boiled egg on top of the bowl. And our homemade kimchi noodles are ready to eat. Alright, this smell is making me deliriously hungry, so let's try it out. Itadakimasu! Alright, let's dig in deep here and get some of that great soup with some of the udon and kimchi. Woo! That's got a kick. The fermented kimchi adds tons of umami, and it's also just a little bit tangy, which gives it a nice, refreshing bite. And because we've cooked the udon noodles in the soup, that flavor of the kimchi and pork has permeated every strand. All right, I'm gonna try out some of this broth. Oh, words can't describe how warming and comforting that is. You've got all that umami coming from the lacto-fermented kimchi, but it's boosted by that pork and the gochujang. And at the end, you get a nice little kick in the taste buds from that spicy gochugaru. All right, I'm gonna go in for some egg and some of that udon here, so grab a piece of egg. Now that just takes it to a whole new level. This kimchi pork belly udon is super simple to make, but it'll warm you up and fill you up, so I hope you'll give it a try. So good. Well, I'm gonna go edit this video in the basement to cool off a bit, but check out this playlist for some more of my favorite noodle soups. And I'll catch you in the next one.